Hello and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Mad, and we have another Marvel Mad review, and this time it is for your friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man Season 1. Oh my lord, this, spoilers ahead as always, like if you've not seen the whole series, I will go back and highly recommend watching it, because this series and future series to come is probably one of the best adaptations I've ever seen of Spider-Man, of his origins, of how he's been presented, the characters that he interacts with, the villains, his like day-to-day life as a student. Absolutely perfect. I cannot purr over this series enough. It is just outstanding, absolutely outstanding. I won't go through episode by episode because we'll be here all day talking about how fantastic this is, but I've got a few like points to talk about now. Like what would you say, it's cameos? Yeah, maybe the cameos that you have in this, or the characters that we appear in it. My lord! Right, first off, Doctor Strange, and we'll get back to that opening and the ending as well. Doctor Strange, first thing straight away, sort of thing, fighting a Venom-like symbiote monster. Fighting that off straight away, and I'm like, what a start to a beginning of a series at all. I was not expecting that for the love of the money. So good, Nala. Harry and Norman Osborn, they're mainstay characters, so I won't really speak about them too much that lot, but they're really presented really well in that lot, and we'll get onto their dynamic with the other characters as well. Daredevil, that whole fight sequence with Daredevil, I think it was in episode 4 or 5, I think, in that lot. 6, sorry. So good. It just, there's more to Osborn than they actually think, sort of thing. Loads of references to Captain America, like not knowing Norman and everything like that. The villain Butane, I think it was. Never heard of him, but the fighting that I had with Spider-Man in that sequence, really good. Unicorn, I think, was another villain. Never heard of them in my life, but that looked really good in that lot. Was it Lonnie? Yeah, the sports lad. Him basically becoming into Tombstone, and like the whole thing near the end of the series where like this container gets smashed when they're looking for like weapons to fight the Scorpion Gang, and we'll get onto him as well. They fight the Scorpion Gang, and then he sort of like has impenetrable skin and really strong, and he's at the end of the season his hands started to turn white. There's another thing leading up. Kurt Connors, or I don't know if you call it Kurt Connors or Dr. Connors anyway, she's like in it, and she's helping like Peter in Oscorp, but not knowing what she's helping him with. Obviously Scorpion, having the whole, like the actual mechanical body and everything out of Scorpion, so good. Getting Osborn into it, and not Osborn, sorry, Dr. Octavius, and having him, he looks absolutely perfect. Even though I wouldn't say he's a cameo, but he's like a character that's in it a lot. By the end of halfway to the end of the series, we find out what's happening. He looked perfect just without the arms, and then something at the end of the series happens with him. Iron Man, him coming down, stopping Connors at Dr. Octavius, that lot was just really good. Yeah, honestly, I cannot rave about this series enough. The story as well is so clever in that lot, and now we'll talk about now, like the first like opening scene of having Doctor Strange fighting the symbiote monster thing, and that's what's caused him to have the spider bite. Sorry, I can't get words out. I'm that excited. Having that being the spider bite, to have him get his powers, and then you find out where that come from by the end of the series. It's just so good, and just seeing him like progress through his life, and like, well, through his school life at the moment, and like getting called up to Oscorp because they can see how well and intelligent he is, and the highness in his power to do that. But then he has to go on and fight like another crime, and then that's when you find out that Norman knows he's Spider-Man, and then he sort of takes on the mantle of like Iron Man in the films. So he's his Iron Man sort of thing, if you get me. And like he's helping him like build different suits, and like, some of the suits as well. One looks like a Hornet Wasp hybrid. One reminds me of like Morbius, which I really thought was quite funny in that lot. It's just really random suits in that lot. And then obviously they end up with the Future Foundation white suit, which again, honestly, so good. Everything they've done in this series is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. I honestly cannot rave about it enough. But yeah, they get to that suit, and he's like having Norman, and then Harry later on finds out that Peter's Spider-Man. So them two sort of become the guys in the chair, like having Ned as the one in the guy in the chair sort of thing, and like helping him like, oh, there's a call from here, but people need to know you in class, and everything like that was really, really good. Having Nico, which was a really unusual character to have in this, because I didn't recognise the name for a start off, and then it wasn't until later down the line in the series when she started looking at her purple necklacey thing, and obviously the spirit of the end talking to her mum, I was like, damn, that's the Nico I'm playing in Bleeding Marvel's Midnight Suns. Which, plug, go and watch, go and like have a look at the series, get great gameplay. Yeah, but that's the Nico, and I was not expecting her to be in it or anything at all now. Like, I've never, in all my time thinking about it, I've never known her to have any sort of correlation or connection with Spider-Man. So that's something I'll have to talk to Nate about, because myself didn't have a clue, did not even see that connection at all or anything, to be honest. But yeah, her finding out, and then the whole dynamic of them like clashing. But I don't know whether there's a weird like she's into him, he's into her sort of thing, which again I wouldn't mind it at all, to be honest, because it just fits the narrative really, really well. But yeah, I did not see that character link up at all, to be honest. And then by the end of the series, you find out all the projects that they've been working on is for Osborn to make like portals into outer space and stuff like that sort of thing. And they've took, because before that as well, Spider-Man has a massive fight with Scorpion, which again, that fight scene was like, wow. That was so cool to watch, and then seeing him get hurt, and then it's just like, is Spider-Man gonna die? You can't kill Spider-Man off like that. Jesus wept. Which you could easily, with how intense the fight scene was and everything like that. So good, but yeah, and that's the first sort of sign as well. You see Norman's glider, and I'm like, oh yes, get that man on that glider, because that'd be so cool to see him on. But yeah, they fly off, he sorts him out, she finds out he's Spider-Man, blah blah blah. And then you find out that they've been experimenting after they take Peter's blood and inject it into spiders, and then they explain about having like these portals open. Doctor Strange comes, tries to stop them, and there's like, oh, hang on a minute, you was there when I first became Spider-Man. There's like, what do you mean? And then there's a whole massive fight sequence where this black venom-like symbiote comes through a portal they've opened. He fights with Doctor Strange. By this time now he's got the red and blue suit, which I tell you what, that looks just perfect. And yeah, they get the fight, and then they realise now that during that fight, Doctor Strange actually goes back in time, so he goes back like nearly a whole year, or to the start of the school year, and that's like that whole fight sequence there was what triggered it in the first episode of how you become Spider-Man and stuff like that. And then they bring him back through the wormhole portal thing send the symbiote back, not before a tiny slither of it stays here. And it's just like, that is so clever to have this whole season wrapped in a start and end point was literally the same. It was so clever, so good. And like, they come through the, like, talking about them have not being able to trust Osborn because there's so much secrecy going off, that can they trust him? Because if they do, is something else going to knack her up, or is something else going to like mess them up and get betrayed sort of thing? It's just, honest to God, there's so much I want to say, but it's just going to get all muddled up because it is just a fantastic season. I cannot wait for season 2 and season 3 because I need them now, because I cannot wait to find out what's going on. Like this black goo, I first thought for a start off, when you see it gets cut off and it's just there and amongst the floor and everything, I was adamant it's going to latch onto Peter straight away, and then we're going to finish up. You've just got the red and blue suit, but we're going to finish up on the black suit. That's what I thought for a start off. But then by the looks of it, it's going to be connected onto Osborn, which the only, like, I'm reading the comic at the moment, and the only symbiote that I've known Osborn to be connected with is the Carnage symbiote. So for him to be connected with the Venom symbiote, my lord, honestly, just mind blown, that lot. And then we find out at the end that this girl that was a student in the intern program at Osborn is actually working with Daredevil, and her name's Finesse or something like that. It's like a superhero code name. And she's like infiltrated places before. I've never heard of that character as well. Done some research on that lot. She's actually the daughter of Taskmaster, apparently, in the comics. Are they going to have that as well amongst this whole story of shenanigans or anything like that? I'm not too sure. But honestly, I can't praise the story. Like, I love as well, like during the fight sequences or like a shocking moment or something like that, it's done in the comic book panels, and it just looks so good now. Like, it triggers my like really nerdy brain of just like, if you was reading that on a comic book page, just seeing it appear like that, I'm just like, yes, it looks amazing. But yeah, honestly, like, what really surprised me as well is having bits from the MCU that they've put into this. Like, one of the first pictures you see is him stopping the car hit the bus. Now, if you look at that frame by frame from that, it is exactly something that Tony Stark showed Spider-Man in the films. And then they literally just cut it frame by frame and it's there. It's like they're talking about the Sokovia Accord, they're talking about meeting up with Thunderbolt Ross. And then that's how Octavius gets caught, because Norman's talked to Thunderbolt Ross to come and bring Iron Man to stop him, so Osborn can take all of his like tech. It's just like the Civil War as well now. Like, you have pictures of Captain America's a fugitive and stuff like that. Exactly moments from the films. And if this is like a sort of way to say, well, if we had Spider-Man, this is how we'd do him in real life, and how we wouldn't connect him to them films just yet, but it'll be leading up to how we would have done. Chef's kiss. Absolutely just perfect sort of thing. Yeah, I honestly cannot express how good this series is. Honestly, it's just perfect. My score for this series, 10 out of 10. Absolutely 10 out of 10. It was just perfect. I had no quarrels with this series at all. It kept me on edge. It kept me wanting to, can't wait for the next episode. I was glad that they did them in like blocks of 2s and 3s, because I just wanted to watch more and more and more. It was just, honestly, it's the perfect way to introduce Spider-Man, especially in this Spider-Man animation that they've done as well. It's the perfect way to introduce him into this Spider-Man animation. It's just like at the end as well, having having become his own like man basically, and his own protector in New York, having the Watcher watch over him, like it's like I presume it is the same Watcher from What If, and that lot, having him watch over him as well. It's just so cool, so cool. And that lot, I've probably missed loads out that me and Nate will talk about and get together and have a chat properly with. Check that up on Project Assemble, but honest to God, it is just amazing. Absolute amazing series. Cannot wait for season 2. They've already greenlit season 3 as well. Yeah, 10 out of 10 series. Absolutely perfect series in that lot. So roll on season 2 and season 3, because if they're anything like season 1, it's going to be brilliant. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much for joining us on another Marvel Mad review. Check out more stuff up on the channel soon. We'll have another Marvel vs DC My Gem mode coming out tomorrow, and then yeah, just check out more stuff on Marvel Mad a lot. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time on another episode. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.